So the first thing I'm doing is taking an eyeshadow primer, this one is clear, and I'm just sweeping some of this across the eye with a synthetic brush as that works best with liquid and cream products, and basically the primer is going to help our shadows to adhere better to the eye and last all day long. Next then I'm taking this colour icon palette from Wet n Wild called Nude Awakening. It's a nice neutral palette with a little step by step on how to create two different looks on the back of the palette if you're stuck for ideas, so it's cheap and cheerful and great for beginners in particular. The first shade I'm taking is this light brown transition shade up at the top of the palette. I picked up some of this on my fluffy blending brush and I'm rocking this back and forward into the crease of the eye right above my eyelid, and I'm using a mix of sweeping motions and circular motions to apply and blend that shadow, and when I get to the outer portion of the eye I'm focusing on doing little circular motions there because I want a nice rounded appearance to the shadow. Then I'm taking a small bullet shaped brush and I've picked up a touch more of that shadow now, and I'm blending this down along the lower lash line to create some depth down there, and then I'm making sure to connect the shadow on the outer corner so that it joins up nicely with the shadow above. To make sure everything is nice and soft and smoky, I'm going in with my fluffy blending brush and I'm just sweeping over the edges. The further you blend the shadow down to, the larger the eyes are going to appear. I've blended the shadow high up towards the brow bone and pulled it down a bit from the lower lash line so that it gives the illusion that the eyes are nice and large, particularly because we're rounding the edges of the shadow today. Now I'm taking the darker, cooler tone transition shadow at the opposite end of the palette on that same fluffy blending brush, and I'm just tapping this down onto the outer third of my eyelid. Once I've most of the colour off my brush, then I'm sweeping up and across into the crease. This is just the groundwork really with this shade. I'm basically just mapping out where I want it now, and then I'm going to reapply to really bump up the intensity of the shadow. And I'm also sweeping the excess product across to the centre of my lid. It'll just add to that gradient effect later on. Now I'm reaching for my small bullet shaped brush again and I'm dipping that into the transition shade, running this down along the lower lash line, again just making sure that it's rounded up onto the lid so that it connects up with the shadow there. Switching back now to my fluffy blending brush, I'm adding another layer of that cool toned brown. I'm patting down on the outer third and using circular motions. I'm really working on deepening up that outer portion of the eye. I want some depth in the crease, so I'm working it across there too and using circular motions to blend it up into the first transition shade that I applied. Now I'm taking this kind of pinky, pearly, shimmery shade. It's the second little shadow in on that top row, and I'm using a flat C-shaped brush to pat this down on any bare skin showing on the lid. I'm using a brush like this because of its shape. It really helps to pack on colour. It gives us a nice opaque finish to the shadow. You could also use your fingers to apply the shadow, that would work just as well. I want the shadow to really sparkle, so I'm adding a few layers of it. Third layer that I'm applying, I'm actually adding the shadow wet. You don't need a fancy setting spray or anything like that. I just got some shadow on my brush, spritzed it with water, and that's helping those shimmery particles now to pop. Now I'm taking the black eyeshadow in the palette, and I generally use 4 eyeshadows per look. So 3 eyeshadows that are kind of in the one colour family to give me my gradient effect, which just adds depth to the look and it gives a professional feel, and then 1 shadow that's the focus, so like a pop of colour, or for today, for example, a pearlescent shadow to add some sparkle. So as you can see now, I'm working a small amount of black with my pencil brush into the outer third of the eye, and I'm bringing it right up into the crease. So once I've added a couple of layers of this shadow, then I'm going back in with my fluffy blending brush and taking a touch more of that cool tone transition shade, and I'm ever so carefully, as you can see, wriggling my brush just in the crease. So I'm basically overlapping the black slightly so that these two shadows fade seamlessly into one another. Now I'm taking an angled brush with some more black shadow, and I'm starting on the outer corner of my lower lash line, and I'm literally just tapping down, following the natural curve of my eye and stopping near enough halfway in. Then I'm just pulling the brush down slightly when I've gotten the bulk of my shadow off, and this is just going to soften the shadow. To really blur those edges though, I like to go in with my bullet shaped brush and I just sweep this back and forward over the very bottom edge. That way I keep the nice pigmentation at the lash line, and then it fades out nicely the further away from there it gets. Once I've lined the bottom lash line, I'm going to do the same to the top, and I find it easiest to do this with the eye closed because it's clearly like drawing a straight line. When the eye is open, you're trying to mimic the curve of the eye, so I'm just literally tapping the shadow down from outer to inner corner. To line my waterline then, I'm using this cheap and cheerful pencil from Collection and just running the pencil back and forward on the inside of the eye, and then I'm going in with an angled brush and I'm just using some more of that black eyeshadow, patting over the waterline to set the black Kohl pencil in place to stop it smudging and fading throughout the day. I've added some of the LBD Lashes and now I'm using my Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara to blend my own lashes in with the false ones. And then I felt like it just needed a little touch more sparkle because we are in the festive season. So I'm taking my highlighter from my face highlighter palette, this one's from Penny's, and I'm just running this around the tear duct of my eye and under the brow bone. And I just think this is a nice way of tying the look together. So like I said, you don't have to use just eye products. Some face products can double up too and work just as well. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial and get some use out of it over the festive season. Have a wonderful, happy and safe Christmas and I'll catch you all really soon.